ثقبت لقتالك. بأبي أنت وأمي لقد عظم مصابي بك، فأسأل الله الذي أكرم مقامك وأكرمني بك أن يرزقني طلب ثارك مع إمام منصور من أهل بيت محمد صلى الله عليه وآله. اللهم اجعلني عندك وجيها بالحسين عليه السلام في الدنيا والآخرة. يا أبا عبد الله، إني أتقرب إلى الله وإلى رسوله وإلى أمير المؤمنين وإلى فاطمة وإلى الحسن وإليك بموالاتك وبالبراءة ممن أسس أساس ذلك وبنى عليه بنيانه وجرى في ظلمه وجوره عليكم وعلى أشياعكم. برئت إلى الله وإليكم منهم، وتقرب إلى الله ثم إليكم بموالاتكم وموالاة وليكم وبالبراءة من أعدائكم والناصبين لكم الحرب وبالبراءة من أشياعهم وأتباعهم. إني سلم لمن سالمكم وحرب لمن حاربكم وولي لمن والاكم وعدو لمن عاداكم. فأسأل الله الذي أكرمني بمعرفتكم ومعرفة أوليائكم ورزقني البراءة من أعدائكم أن يجعلني معكم في الدنيا والآخرة، وأن يثبت لي عندكم قدم صدق في الدنيا والآخرة، وأسأله أن يبلغني المقام المحمود لكم عند الله، وأن يرزقني طلب ثأري مع إمام هدى ظاهر ناطق بالحق منكم. وأسأل الله بحقكم وبالشأن الذي لكم عنده أن يعطيني بمصابي بكم أفضل ما يعطى مصابا بمصيبته، مصيبة ما أعظمها وأعظم رزيتها في الإسلام وفي جميع السماوات والأرض. اللهم اجعلني في مقامي هذا ممن تناله منك صلوات ورحمة ومغفرة. اللهم اجعل محياي محيا محمد وآل محمد، ومماتي ممات محمد وآل محمد. اللهم إن هذا يوم تبركت به بنو أمية وابن آكلة الأكباد اللعين ابن اللعين على لسانك ولسان نبيك صلى الله عليه وآله في كل موطن وموقف وقف فيه نبيك صلى الله عليه وآله. اللهم لعن أبا سفيان ومعاوية ويزيد بن معاوية عليهم منك اللعنة أبد الآبدين. وهذا يوم فرحت به آل زياد وآل مروان بقتلهم الحسين صلوات الله عليه. اللهم فضاعف عليهم اللعن منك والعذاب الأليم. اللهم إني أتقرب إليك في هذا اليوم وفي موقفي هذا وأيام حياتي بالبراءة منهم واللعنة عليهم وبالموالاة لنبيك وآل نبيك عليه وعليهم السلام. اللهم لعن أول ظالم ظلم حق محمد وآل محمد، وآخر تابع له على ذلك. اللهم لعن العصابة التي جاهدت الحسين وشايعت وبايعت على قتله، اللهم لعنهم جميعا. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله، وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك. عليك مني سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار، ولا جعله الله آخر العهد مني لزيارتكم. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. اللهم خص أنت أول ظالم باللعن مني، وابدأ به أولا، ثم الثانية والثالثة والرابع. اللهم لعن يزيد خامسا، والعن عبيد الله بن زياد وابن مرجانة وعمر بن سعد وشمرا وآل أبي سفيان وآل زياد وآل مروان إلى يوم القيامة. سجود. اللهم لك الحمد حمد الشاكرين لك على مصابهم. الحمد لله على عظيم رزيتي. اللهم ارزقني شفاعة الحسين يوم الورود، وثبت لي قدم صدق عندك مع الحسين وأصحاب الحسين الذين بذلوا مهجهم دون الحسين عليه السلام. أفضل الأعمال الصلاة على محمد وآل محمد.
علي علي علي. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين بارئ الخالق الأجمعين والصلاة والسلام على سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين وخاتم النائبين حبيبنا وحبيب إليه العالمين أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى طيبين الطاهرين المعصومين ولا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين واللعن الدائم على أعدائهم أجمعين إلى يوم الدين. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله وعلى أرواح التي حلت بفنائك. عليكم مني جميع سلام الله عبدا وما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار ولا جعله الله الآخر العهد مني لزيارتكم. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. Assalamu alaikum to all the brothers and sisters. May Abu Abdullah al-Hussein have accepted your mornings, your prayers in these beautiful and full of light nights that we have. And may the heart of Imam al-Zaman alayhi salam be happy with our prayers and our mornings. And may these mornings and azadari excel us towards Allah, and may it be a path that we can change ourselves, we can better ourselves in our day-to-day life. Now we know that in the lectures, of course, me myself, I don't know anything. We're just here because of it was deemed so. Otherwise, me myself, I don't know anything. And even if we mention a few things, we first mention it to myself, and then I'm mentioning it to the brothers. However, these points, whether it be we do know them or we don't, which of course most of them the brothers and sisters already know, the importance of them, that we brought them from the ahadith and mainly from the Quran and Kareem, is to not just know something for the sake of knowing, not to just come to majalis to just learn for the sake of learning it, but by actually acting upon it. And we know that in every lecture we've persisted on this fact of acting upon the knowledge that we have. The reason it's so important, we said, is that that's what shows Iman. That's what is the stamp of approval that we have from Allah and the Ahlul Bayt. Whether the subject be interesting or not, it's the truth. This is the truth. This is the way that we can reach Allah. This is what our religion is. We said these characteristics that we mentioned was the difference between the army of Yazid and the army of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. So I just wanted to make another notation and persisting upon this, that we should act. I first say it to myself and then the brothers and sisters. That may Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, these nights help us that we can actually act upon it. Because if we know more things, it's like eating, however not being able to digest it. Because if we keep eating and we can't digest, this is a harm for our bodies. And ilm has the exact same thing. That's why when the followers of the Ahlul Bayt would go to the Ahlul Bayt, they would say things to them that they might have already known, or they might be in that exact level. For example, the thing that the Prophet would say to Abu Zar and would say to Salman, of course it's not the same. Or to another person than Salman, of course it's not the same. These people are on different levels. And we know when we look into ourselves and we assess ourselves, which we should every day, we understand that of course there are things that I do know, however I don't act upon. And if I don't act upon these things, that's a damage to me myself. The rahmat of Allah the mercy of Allah is sometimes that He doesn't give you some things. He doesn't give you some things because if He does, you cannot digest it. He wants you to digest first the things that you have had and He has gave you, and you to do enough shukr and prayer to Allah for the things that He has, and you understand the things He's given you until He bestows upon you the next mercy. And this is a very important key. Whether it be we do know it and we don't know it, it's the action which is important. This is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants from us, the action. And on the opposite hand, it's the exact same thing when we think about sin. Sometimes it comes to our heads without us even wanting to think about it. It just suddenly comes to us. When we think about these things, it's not haram. However, if we act upon it, this is what's haram. There are ways, of course, if these thoughts come to our heads, for us to push them away, think about other things, do istighfar, read the Quran. However, if we don't act upon them, it's not a sin. If we act upon those things, that's when our souls are tarnished. That's when it has an effect. And all these characteristics that we've mentioned, to be able to install them into our own lives and install them to our own soul, that's what has an effect. The ulama of akhlaq have mentioned there's a lot of nafs that we have. The high nufus, these souls that we can reach, are by acting upon the things we do know. These higher ranks that we don't possess at the moment. But the Ahlul Bayt, the awliya, these people have them. Whether it be interesting or not be interesting, the importance of acting upon everything that was said, even to myself, that's what's important. Of course, tonight it was deemed that it would be about Abu al-Fazl al-Abbas Qamar Bani Hashim. Allah. Abu al-Fazl al-Abbas is one of these characters in Karbala, one of the followers of Abu Abdullah that showed these with action. And what action did Abu al-Fazl al-Abbas show? The actions he showed in Karbala, the things that he did in Karbala. It wasn't just of the mind, of him knowing something. Everything that he knew, he did. He didn't leave anything for doubt. Everything he had, he gave. Whether it be his smaller brothers, he had 3 other brothers which were younger than him, that he sent first to get martyred in the path of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, and then himself. He had these qualities that even to this day, when we see Ma'sumin alayhi salam give the Imamzades are the sons and daughters of Imams that are buried in many places of the world right now. It's said that, for example, in Iran there's 8,000 of them buried in many places. In Tehran there's many in up mountains and in some of them beautiful locations. In Qom there's many of them buried, and the most famous one is Bibi Ma'suma alayhi salam. There are other ones, Shah Abdul Azim, Shah Chirag. These are Imamzades, the sons and daughters of Imams. Now there are many of them. However, there's only a few that are extremely special that the Imams that came after narrated things about them. Either narrating to go and do ziyarat of them, which is for Bibi Ma'suma alayhi salam, that the ziyarat of Bibi Ma'suma is the ziyarat of all the Ahlul Bayt. It's equivalent to ziyarat of Bibi Zahra alayhi salam. Sometimes they've said and narrated these things. Same for Shah Chiragh in Tehran, Shahrare, and other places. Sometimes the person is so important that the Imams narrate a ziyarat for them. When you go to the ziyarat of these Imamzades, they actually tell you what to say. A lot of them, and most of them, don't have one. Abu Abdullah, Abu al-Fadl Abbas did such an important thing for Abu Abdullah al-Hussein that he has one. It's narrated from Imam Sajjad alayhi salam. When we go to the ziyarat of Abu al-Fadl Abbas, the entrance to Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, that's a discussion if you should go to Imam Hussein first. Some say, no, you should go to the older and the Imam first and then Abu al-Fadl Abbas. Some say, no, you have to go and ask permission from Abu al-Fadl Abbas to go to the shrine of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Whether it be either of them, it's up to your intention. But Abu al-Fadl Abbas has a ziyarat name, a ziyarat text of ziyarat of himself that Imam has said. Now this is special. How many Imamzadas have this? I would say for everyone, especially on these nights, to go and look at that ziyarat name, to go read this translation, see what they say about, what has the Imam said about Hazrat Abu al-Fadl Abbas? What characteristics have they highlighted about Abu al-Fadl Abbas? Of course, we know Abu al-Fadl Abbas was 36 when he was in Karbala. He's 20 years or so younger than Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. And he had kids. And when he was martyred, al-Banin would take these kids. And the way that al-Banin did tabligh was showing these kids to the people of that city and crying and advertising the story of Karbala, that these kids are orphaned. Who orphaned them? Who orphaned these kids of Abu al-Fazl al-Abbas? This ziyarat name has all these characteristics, many of them. It's narrated that Imam Sajjad alayhi salam, when one of the sons of Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas came in from the door, Imam Sajjad praised his son. And he said to the crowd that his father gave his life for Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, for his Imam. And Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas has such a high maqam, such a high level of spirituality that all the shuhada envy him. Now we ourselves, we envy the shuhada, the maqam that they have, the level that they've reached. Now the people that we envy, which are the shuhada, they envy Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas. And Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas in the heavens has two wings. Now this, so many of the ulama have said this two wings means that he can fly through the heavens. As in not actual, it might be even actual wings, but that he has complete control over the heavens. He can go wherever he wants, wherever he deems pleased, he's pleased with, he wants to go. This is Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas. Because he gave everything for Imam Hussein. And this is why the maqam of Imam Hussein is so high. This is why all the Ahlul Bayt would cry for Imam Hussein, is that he gave everything. There's a story of a young king that once was traveling from one city to another. And in this way, this king got stopped by some thieves, and so many of his soldiers got killed, and he ran away. Everything he owned got taken by these thieves. He got injured even by these thieves. And he ran away to this desert, trying to run away from these thieves that might even kill him. With this injury, he couldn't go too far, and he fell on the sands of the desert. And he was found by an old woman, a very old woman, a weak old woman. And when this old woman saw this person, not knowing who he was, nursed him, took care of his wound. And this old woman only had one little lamb. She had one little lamb. That's all she had in this whole white world. That's all she had. And she slaughtered the lamb so that she would cook something and give it to him so that she could revive him back to strength. Because he was very weak, he hadn't ate for many days, he was injured. And after this young king was well and his strength came back and he was healed, he went back to his own kingdom. When he went back, he told his wuzara, his soldiers, his advisors, go and find this woman. She lives in a small tent in the middle of the desert. Go and find her. When they went and found her and they brought her back, he looked to his advisors and said, what should I give to this woman that she did this much for me? Every advisor said one thing. But his right hand, which was his main advisor, said, give her everything. And the king looked at him, why should I give him everything? Why should I give her everything? And the advisor said, because all she had on this earth was this little lamb. And she gave that for you. That's all she had. But even though she had little, she was willing to give all of it for you. Now Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, compared to Allah, doesn't have much. But all he had, he gave to Allah. For Allah. All he had. Whether it be his 6-month-year-old son, whether it be Ali Akbar, whether it be after Karbala, of course he knew what's going to happen. Without any man being there for Sham al-Qariban, for them to come all the way back to Sham. Now if we put ourselves for 1 second even in the shoes of Abu Abdullah, we would realize how hard and difficult this is. What would we be thinking at that moment? Of our family, of our daughter. What's going to happen? What's going to happen to my sons? Even if we don't think about ourselves, we are thinking about our family. But in the path of Tawheed that Abu Abdullah had in abundance, there was no doubt in his mind. And in the minds of his companions. We mentioned these in the lectures before. When Qasim says, Ahlam and Asal, death is to me more beautiful, more sweeter than honey. A young man that says this, no fear. And we know that from narrations that from the Prophet, even from the Prophet, that all, he says to the khitab to Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, that may all the heavens and the earth be sacrificed to you, Ya Abu Abdullah. Famous narrations. Even the Prophet himself, when Imam Hussein alayhi salam was a young kid, he would say, may all the heavens and the earth be fada to you, sacrificed to you. Now in the Zuhr of Ashura, Abu Abdullah al-Hussein says to Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas, oh brother, may I be fada for you, may I be sacrificed for you. This is the maqam of Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas. There are some characteristics of Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas that are mentioned in this narration that we said from Imam Sajjad alayhi salam. These narrations that we have said some characteristics. The first characteristic, before actually we mention these first characteristics, in the Ziyarat number it says, Ya Abdus Salih. And we know in our namaz, every namaz that every Muslim makes, we say salam to these salihin, the people that are salih. One of the mistaq, one of the people of Salihin is Abul Fadl al-Abbas. Because the Imam is saying, Assalamu alaikum ya Abdus Salih. He's a Salih. Imam Sajjad says these characteristics in the Ziyarat Nameh. One of them is Taslim, and we want to emphasize on this Taslim. Abul Fadl al-Abbas was Taslim towards his Imam, Imam al-Zaman, his Imam al-Zaman, Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Just how Amir al-Mu'mineen was Taslim of the Prophet. We see in Nahj al-Balagha, Amir al-Mu'mineen, Ali ibn Abi Talib, he says about the Prophet that I am the Abd, and Abdu Abid Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. And we look at the narrations, and when the Prophet was alive, we don't have that many narrations, if any. Narrations from Amir al-Mu'mineen saying something, Amir al-Mu'mineen teaching something. He was completely dissolved in Rasulullah. When he was alive, he was the purest and the best in the heavens and the earth. When the Prophet was there, Amir al-Mu'mineen was taslim. All he wanted to do was obey the Prophet. That's all he wanted. Nahj al-Balagha and all these narrations that we have are after the death of the Prophet. This is when Amir al-Mu'mineen is the teacher. This is when Amir al-Mu'mineen has to speak. And we see the same thing when Imam Hassan al-Hussein were alive at the time of the Amir al-Mu'mineen. The same. And again we see the same thing when Imam Hassan was the Imam. And they would come to Imam Hussein alayhi salam and they would say that your brother wants to do sulh with Muawiyah, wants to stop the war. Imam Hussein alayhi salam says, he's the Imam. I obey him. And this is exactly the characteristics that Abul Fadl al-Abbas has inherited. And he has towards Imam Hussein alayhi salam. When Imam Hussein on the Zuhr of Ashura and all the days before says to him, go bring water, he doesn't say, I'm the holder of the flag of this war. I'm the general. I'm not one to bring water. When he says to him, go get time so that we don't battle on this day, but the next, he listens to his Imam of his time. He doesn't question it. Not even a second. When Abu Abdullah al-Hussein was leaving, so many people told him, don't go to Kufa. Go to Yemen, like Ibn Abbas. And Ibn Abbas was much older than Hazrat Abul Fadl al-Abbas. These people that were so-called pious and were giving lessons of tafsir and were alims at their time, they questioned, they gave advice and questioned Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. But Abul Fadl al-Abbas, not even for a second questioned Imam Hussein alayhi salam. He was dissolved in his Imam. The question we should ask is, are we dissolved in our Imam? Would we question if something's against what we think is true and the Imam says to us, do this, would we do it? If he tells us to go to war now, or now is when we stop war, now is when we do sulh with this Muawiyah, which Imam Hassan did, will we listen? Taslim, having completely dissolved in your Imam. Extremely important. The next one is tasdeeq, acknowledgement. Tasdeeq of your Imam. Tasdeeq and acknowledgement is extremely important that Abul Fadl al-Abbas had. Abul Fadl al-Abbas, in the whole story of Ashura, you can't see him much speaking. There's many ash'ar and poems that many people said. There's not from Abul Fadl al-Abbas. However, there's one line. On that night when Imam Hussein alayhi salam closed the lights and said, whoever wants to go can go. And after those that left, each one of these people, that after the next day was Ashura, and Imam Hussein said to all of them that everyone will die, no one will be alive after the Zuhr of Ashura, no one will be alive. And he told about the deaths of every single companion, and this is where Asad ibn Hassan rose and said, Ahla min asal. Abu al-Fadl Abbas has one sentence. One sentence. This is what we want to show acknowledgement. He says, where should I go? Where should we go? Not just himself, where should we go? Ya Abu Abdullah. When you're here, where should we go? He doesn't even see a life without Abu Abdullah. He says to him, if you're not here, why should I be here? When they brought Hazrat Abu al-Fadl Abbas a letter to tell him, come to the army of Muawiyah, don't worry, we will do nothing to you, come. With us you're aman. They sent him a letter because he was families with the mother side of Muawiyah, from the mother side of Yazid. Said, Abu al-Fadl Abbas, you come to our side. Because if Abu al-Fadl Abbas would have gone, the whole army, backbone of the army would have been broken. Now all the eyes are to Abu al-Fadl Abbas, what is he going to do? And he throws the letter. The la'an of Allah on you and this letter, he says. This is Abu al-Fadl Abbas. He cannot even imagine a life without Abu Abdullah. He says to them, you want me to be in aman and in peace, and for me to be happy over there when Hussein is like this, when the son of Zahra is like this? Another quality of Abu al-Fadl Abbas is loyalty, is wafa, loyalty. This is extremely important. Brothers and sisters, all of us in Alam al-Zar, before the Alam that we have now, gave promises to the Imams. If we were born Shias and we're Shias today, it's because we have done bay'at and we've promised to the Ahl Bayt that we will stick with them. And every majalis that you've gone, even the years before, these are all bay'at. These are all signs of loyalty. Going to the ziyarat of all the harams of the Imams, this is the sign of loyalty. This is bay'at. All the nights of Qadr, what do we do on the nights of Qadr? One of the a'mal is to do bay'at. Is to promise to the Ahlul Bayt that we are with you. To promise Allah we will have taqwa, we will be careful of what we do and what we say. This is the tawbah that we do in the Qadr nights, all the 10 last nights in Ramadan. Each of them, every single a'mal that we do. Look at some of the translations of them, what we say. So to have wafa, to have loyalty. The person we should learn loyalty from is Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas. When Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas went to bring water, and he takes his hands and he brings this water to his hand, who does he remember? He remembers the son of Hussein, the 6-month-old son of Hussein. He says, how can I drink this water when he's thirsty? How can I have this water when Abu Abdullah is thirsty? How can I have this water when Ali Akbar died with thirst? This is a sign of wafa. He throws the water. He throws the water down. I cannot drink this. How can I drink when Abu Abdullah is thirsty? When his son's Bibi Ruqayya is thirsty? This is loyalty in his heart. Now sometimes we might forget. When you're dying of thirst in the heat of Karbala, you might not even think, but Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas in that moment doesn't forget the sons and daughters of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. He doesn't forget his brother Hussein. He doesn't forget the hardships that are happening to Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. And with what bravery he fights. With what bravery he fights. He fights in a way where the army of Yazid cannot even get close. They shoot with arrows from far away. They throw stones from far away. They can't get close. They're afraid. His loyalty, his bravery that he shows. This is when they realize the only way that flag is going to come down is if we cut his hand. If his hand is not attached to his shoulder, this is how the flag will come down. Because until this hand is attached to this shoulder, there is no way that this flag will fall down. This is Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas. This is Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas that many have to surround him. No one can take him on a one-to-one fight. Not even if 5, 6 people come from afar. The razaj that he reads before he goes to war, the way he swings his sword, everyone is remembered of Ali. Many are reminded of Ali alayhi salam. When Amir al-Mu'mineen was on his bed, on his last breaths that he was breathing, he did wasiyat to his sons. He didn't do wasiyat to Abu Abdullah, take care of Abbas. He said to Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas, Ya Abbas, take care of your brother Abu Abdullah. Take care of him. Oh you Abbas, I brought you to this earth. The reason I married your mother is for you to be born so that you can take care of Abu Abdullah. We all know the story. He said, go search a woman from a tribe which are brave, which are strong. He gave characteristics that he wanted. Why did he give these characteristics? So that an Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas can be born. He was the reservation for Abu Abdullah. In the war of Siffin, he didn't let Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas fight. Or there's narrations that he made one fight, he put a niqab on, he came and fought and killed one of the greatest warriors. But it's a newer narration. And then says after that, Amir al-Mu'mineen didn't let him fight anymore and said you are reserved. And in other narrations, we don't see him even fighting in Siffin. Amir al-Mu'mineen is saying, no one can see him fight. He's reserved for Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. And Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas knows this. He knows going to Karbala. He knows that this is the place that I've been reserved for. All these years that I've been alive, all these training I have done, all these salat. It's narrated that he had a mark on his forehead from the amount that he prayed. All of this was for this one moment in time for me to give my life for Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. All of this was for this moment. That's why we call him Bab al-Hawaij. He gave everything and now he's Bab al-Hawaij. If you have a hajat, go to Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas. Tonight, if you have a wish, if you have a hajat, if you have something, anything that is a knot in your life, give it to Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas and see how he opens it for you. Amar Bani Hashim. These qualities that we mentioned, taslim, tasdeeq, acknowledgement, and wafa. The reason that Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas doesn't mention anything when Imam Hussein is just as when the sun is up, you do not see the moon. He knows that the sun is Imam Hussein alayhi salam, and him being Amar Bani Hashim, the moon of Bani Hashim, does not shine when the sun is here. I have nothing for myself. If I have any light, it is from the sun. It is from Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. He knows this. In his last breaths, when he's giving his life for Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, is he not happy that he gave his life for Abu Abdullah al-Hussein? That he's a shaheed? not a single piece of regret is in the heart of Abul Fadl al-Abbas. But he's with one only regret. He's thinking of one little thing. Who's going to bring water to the sons and daughters of Abul Fadl, of Imam Hussein alayhi salam? I couldn't bring water. While he's giving his life, in his last moments, he's still thinking of Ruqayyah, that he said, "Oh uncle, I want water. Can you bring me some water?" Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. As-salamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. Let's read a little bit of the ziyarat of Abul Fadl al-Abbas. As-salamu alayka ayyuha al-abdu salihul muti lillah. Abdu salihul muti lillah wa rasulih wa lil amir al-mu'minin wa lil Hasan wal Husayn sallallahu alayhim. والسلام عليك ورحمة الله وبركاته ومغفرته ورضوانه وعلى روحك وبدنك أشهد وأشهد as Abbas lay on the sand of Karbala, arrows taking away his noble soul. By his side was Aba Abdullah. Oh Aba Abdullah, on the last, when we are giving our last breaths, please come to us as well. Sit next to us. Be beside us while we're giving our last breaths. Like arrows taking away his noble soul. By his side, Aba Abdullah. From the voice of Abul Fadl al-Abbas, he says to his brother, to his master, "Oh my master, how can I lie whilst you are standing? Oh my master, I have failed my duty of water." He's still thinking of Bibi Ruqayyah. He's still thinking of Ali Asghar. He's still thinking of the sons and daughters of Abu Abdullah bin Hussein. Oh my master, I feel as I have failed you, as my mission has come undone. How my mother will answer when she asks how I have done. When Bani al-Baneen asks how Abul Fadl al-Abbas has done, Abul Fadl al-Abbas is worried. What will she say? Will she be happy with what I have done? Is it enough? How my mother will answer when she asks how I have done. My master, please don't tell her that you sat and I lay. Abul Fadl al-Abbas cannot get up. Two hands are gone.
he has no strength, he cannot get up, but he's still thinking. He's still thinking, my master, please don't tell her that I sat while you were standing, as she raised me up, such that when you are sitting, I should stand. This is how al-Baneen has taught Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas, is when Imam Hussein alayhi salam is sitting, you should be standing. You shouldn't be laying. You shouldn't even be sitting. You should be standing. As she has raised me up such that when you are sitting, I should stand. My master, please don't tell her that I missed your call of aid. As she raised me up such that before you asked, I would obey. Before he even asked, Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas would run to listen to Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. Oh my master, please don't tell her that I watched Ruqayyah from thirst shake. That Ruqayyah was shaking from the thirst. As she raised me up such that no Zahra's heart would never ever ache. Oh my master, please don't tell her that Qasim, his lips licking with thirst. As she raised me up such that no Hassan would ever die kicking. Oh my master, please don't tell her that I witnessed Akbar's body be split in half, that he would be Irban Irba. As she raised me such that no Ali's head would be ever split. Oh my master, at every single second he's remembering and mourning each of the Ahlul Bayt and what happened to them. All of them have been bundled up in one Karbala. Oh my master, please don't tell her that water I held white Asad crying, as she has raised me up such that to ensure no Muhsin ever die. He's even going back to Medina, thinking about Hazrat al-Muhsin. Hussein then answered and asked for one favor from Abbas before being forced apart from each other. Well done, my beloved Abbas. Well done, my brother. Please do me this honor, this one last time, and give me this honor by calling me brother. Oh, call me brother, Ya Abbas, call me brother. Abbas, with his last breath, then gave Hussein a gift like no other. I beg you, oh my beloved brother Hussein, even of this don't tell my mother, because she has raised me such that I would call you my master. As the waters gently rippled over the river of Furat, the gentle breeze brought the cries of the children to Abbas. Now Abbas cannot bear this. He can hear the cries of the children, what can he do? He has no arms to help him get up. He has no strength. He's low on blood. Ya Abbas, Ya Abbas. Oh, Ya Abbas, when you have gone, Abu Abdullah has no backbone to stand. It's narrated that Abu Abdullah says, when I lost Abbas, my back was broken. The backbone of Imam Hussein alayhi salam was Abbas. لا يومكم كيوم الكربلاء. Imam Hussein in the Qatl had no one to come next to him. At least Abu Fadl al-Abbas had someone to come next to him, but Imam Hussein alayhi salam had no one to come next to him. Only Shibr La'natullah alayhi. Ya Aba Abdullah, they did not even give a chance for you to finish your sentence. Before you finished, your throat was cut open. Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. سيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون. اسمك الأعظم أجل الأكرم يا الله. Three times together. اللهم أجل وليك الفرج. اللهم أجل وليك الفرج. اللهم أجل وليك الفرج وعافية والنار. صلوات محمد وعلى آله.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين. صلى الله عليك يا سيدي ويا مولاي يا رسول الله وعلى أهل بيتك المعصومين. صلى الله عليك يا سيدي ويا مولاي يا أبا عبد الله. صلى الله عليك يا ابن رسول الله. ما خاب من تمسك بكم سيدي وأمن من لجأ إليكم. يا ليتنا كنا معكم سيدي فنفوز فوزا عظيما. عبست وجوه القوم خوف الموت والعباس فيهم ضاحك متبسم. قلب اليمين على الشمال وغاص في الأوساط يحصد في الرؤوس ويحطم. وثناء الفضل الفوارس ركسا فرأوا أشد ثباتهم أن يهزموا وله إلى الإقدام سرعة هارب فكأنما هو بالتقدم يسلم. بطل تورث من أبيه شجاعة فيها أنوف بني الضلالة عنده وبصدر صعدته الفرات المفعم بطل إذا ركب المطهم خلته جبلنا شم يخاف فيه مطهم لولا القضى لمح الوجوه بسيفه والله يقضي ما يشاء ويحكم وهوى بجنب العلقمي فليته للشاربين به يداف العلقم فمشى لمصرعه الحسين وطرفه بين الخيام وبينهم متقسم ألقاه محجوب الجمال كأنه بدر بمنحطم الوشيح ملثم فكب منحيا عليه ودمعه صبغ البسيط كأنما هو عنده قد رام يلثم فلم يرى موضعا لم يدمه عض السلاح فيلثم نادى وقد ملأ البوادي صيحة صم الصخور لهولها تتألم أخي يهنيك النعيم ولم أخل ترضى بأن أغزى وأنت منعم أخي من يحمي بنات محمد إن صرن يسترحم من لا يرحم وبرز من بعدهم أخوه العباس بن علي عليه السلام وهو أكبرهم عمرا 34 سنة ويكنى بأبي الفام ويلقب بالسقاء وقمر بني هاشم وهو صاحب لواء الحسين عليه السلام وقصد الفرات فأحاط به 4000 ورموه بالنبال فلم يعبأ بجمعهم ولا راعته كثرتهم فكشفهم عن المشرعة ودخل إلى الماء واغترف منه غرفة ليشرب فتذكر عطش الحسين فرمى الماء من يديه فقال يا نفس من بعد الحسين هوني وبعده لا كنت أن تكوني هذا الحسين شارب المنون وتشربين بارد المعين تالله ما هذا فعال ديني ولا فعال صادق اليقين ثم ملأ القربة وتوجه نحو المخيم فأخذوا عليه الطريق وهو يقاتل فيهم ويقول لا أرهب الموت إذا الموت رقى حتى أواري في المصاليت نقى إني أنا العباس أغدو بالسقا لا أخاف الشر يوم الملتقى نفسي لصدق المصطفى الطهر مقى ففرقهم وقاتلهم قتال الأبطال فكمن له زيد بن وراء الجهني من وراء نخلة فضربه على يمينه فقطعها فأخذ السيف بشماله وحمل وهو يرتجز ويقول والله إن قطعتم يميني إني أحامي أبدا عن ديني وعن إمام صادق اليقين نجل النبي الطاهر الأمين فكمل له حكيم بن فضربه على شماله فقطعها، فضم اللواء إلى صدره وقال: يا نفس لا تخشي من الكفار، وابشري برحمة الجبار، مع النبي المختار. قد قطعوا ببغيهم يساري، فأصلهم يا ربي حر النار. فتكاثروا عليه وأتته السهام كالمطار، فأصاب القربة سهم وأريق ماؤها، وسهم أصاب صدره، وسهم أصاب عيناه، وضرب السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله، عليك مني السلام يا أبا عبد الله. أدركني يا أخي. فأتاه الحسين فرآه مقطوع اليمين واليسار متأثرا بالجراح، فانقض عليه وبكى بكاء عليلا وقال: الآن انكسر ظهري وقلت حيلتي، يا خويا انكسر ظهري ولا أقدر أقوم، صرت مركز يا خويا الكل الهموم. صلى الله على محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين.
كالحمد لم تغن عنا سائر السور يا دهر حسبك ما أبديت من غير أين الأسود أسود الله من مضري رز إذا اعتبرته شمس وانكسفت فمثلها العبرة الكبرى لمعتبري وإن بكى القمر الأعلى لمزرعه فما بكى قمر إلا على قمري أي المحاجر لا تبكي عليك دما أبكيت والله حتى مفجر الحجر أي المحاجر لا تبكي عليك دما أبكيت والله حتى محجر الحجر إن أصبح الدهر ينعم فلا عجب يحق للروض أن يبكي على المطر أي المحاجر لا تبكي عليك دما أبكيت والله حتى محجر الحجر أي المحاجر لا تبكي عليك دما أبكيت والله حتى محجر الحجر حسين يا حسين حسين يا حسين حسين يا حسين حسين يا حسين صلوات
बहते हुए पानी में तस्वीर सकीना की बहते हुए पानी में तस्वीर सकीना की दम दे दिया दरिया पर उठा न कदम तेरा दम दे दिया दरिया पर उठा न कदम तेरा दिल सीने में जब तक है भूलेगा ना हम तेरा आगे सब मिलके ये गाजी ऊंचा है अलम तेरा आगे तेरे ऊंचा है अलम तेरा आगे तेरे है अलम तेरा आ जाती है ज़हरा भी ज़ैनब भी ज़ियारत को आ जाती है ज़हरा भी ज़ैनब भी ज़ियारत को जब 8 मुहर्रम को उठता آگے بھی چلتا ہے علم تیرا دل سینے میں بھولے گا نہ غم تیرا آگے میرے چاہے علم تیرا کارواں
The screams of the children thirsty for water, the duty was sent to Abbas, our Savior. The Lion of God could be seen riding faster to reach Al-Furat and to please his Sakina.
How does he fall from his horse with no hands? The flag of Islam laying bare on the sand. Hussein al-Gharib Hussein al-Shahid al-Hussein. A lady was seen peering out from the tent, a cry from the heavens that Zahra presents. O Shimmer, why on his chest the sword stained in blood was Hussein's final test? Hussein, to your mother it's time to ascend. Your trials in Karbala have come to an end. Hussein al-Gharib al-Hussein. Hussein al-Shahid al-Hussein. Sakina would cry every night for her father, and Zainab would cradle Hussein's little daughter. But when they presented his head on a platter, Sakina could not bear to live any longer. But no one could comfort or soothe young Sakina. She died in the prisons with Zainab beside her. Hussein al-Hussein, Hussein al-Shahid al-Hussein, Hussein al-Gharib al-Hussein, Hussein al-Shahid al-Hussein. Sallallahu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
شده قطع الیمین و ویلا فتاده بر زمین و ویلا آخ عمود آهنین و ویلا علمدار حسین و ویلا سپهدار حسین و ویلا امیر نشأتین و ویلا عزیز عالمین و ویلا امید زینبین و ویلا سقای بی دست با کامتشان در خون نشسته دستش بریده تیرش بدیده فرقش شکسته سقا فدا شد دستش جدا شد مظلوم ابوالفضل ای وای از این غم دشمن بخندد بابا بگرید بابا بگرید تنها نه بابا زهرا برای سقا بگرید سقا بگرید سقا فدا شد دستش جدا شد مظلوم ابوالفضل 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 هر خیمه رفتم با گریه گشتم آبی ندیدم آبی ندیدم با کام عطشان یک آه جانسوز از دل کشیدم از دل کشیدم سقا فدا شد دستش جدا شد مظلوم ابوالفضل مظلوم ابوالفضل مظلوم ابوالفضل مظلوم ابوالفضل مظلوم ابوالفضل بابا ز میدان آمد ولی با قد خمیده قد خمیده دیدم به دستش با چشم گریان دست بریده دست بریده سقا فدا شد دستش جدا شد مظلوم ابوالفضل مظلوم ابوالفضل مظلوم مظلوم ابوالفضل مظلوم 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 ابوالفضل من دیده گریان زینب غمین و زهرا عزادار زهرا عزادار بابا غریب و در موج دشمن شد بی علمدار شد بی علمدار سقا فدا شد دستش جدا شد مظلوم ابوالفضل مظلوم ابوالفضل مظلوم ابوالفضل مظلوم ابوالفضل مظلوم ابوالفضل مظلوم ابوالفضل ای اهل حرم میر و علمدار نیامد ای اهل حرم میر و علمدار نیامد علمدار نیامد علمدار نیامد سقای حسین سید و سالار نیامد سقای حسین سید و سالار نیامد علمدار نیامد علمدار نیامد ای اهل حرم میر و علمدار نیامد ای اهل حرم نیامد علمدار نیامد علمدار نیامد سقای حسین سید و سالار نیامد سقای حسین سید و سالار نیامد علمدار نیامد علمدار نیامد ای اهل حرم ای اهل حرم میر و علمدار نیامد علمدار نیامد سقای حسین سید و سالار نیامد سقای حسین سید و سالار نیامد علمدار نیامد علمدار نیامد ای اهل حرم شاه حرم رفت ز دنیا ای اهل حرم شاه حرم رفت ز دنیا آمد ببرش مادر او حضرت زهرا ای سینه زنان دست علمدار فتاده ای سینه زنان فرق علمدار شکسته خم گشته علم گشته علمدار چو خسته خدا ساقی و سردار نیامد ای اهل حرم را علمدار نیامد ای اهل حرم علمدار نیامد علمدار نیامد سقای حسین سید و سالار نیامد سقای حسین سید و سالار نیامد علمدار نیامد علمدار نیامد ای اهل حرم علمدار نیامد میر و علمدار نیامد در قصه دلبر و دلدار نیامد در قصه دلبر و دلدار نیامد آن مهوش محروی وفادار نیامد پوسید نگاهی به رهی از سر امید سقا سپهدار و علمدار نیامد ای اهل حرم میر و علمدار نیامد ای اهل حرم علمدار نیامد سقای حسین سید و سالار نیامد سقای حسین سید و سالار نیامد علمدار نیامد علمدار نیامد ای اهل حرم دار نیامد ای اهل حرم در خشکترین مرتبه از منظر غربت آن ابر بلا دیده پربار نیامد آن شیر شغال افکن بیار نیامد بوسید تنش را لب خشکیده دریا سر لشکر شب دیده بیدار نیامد ای اهل حرم رو علمدار نیامد ای اهل حرم میر و علمدار نیامد علمدار نیامد علمدار نیامد سقای حسین سید و سالار نیامد سقای حسین سید و سالار نیامد علمدار نیامد علمدار نیامد ای اهل حرم میر و علمدار نیامد ای اهل حرم میر و علمدار نیامد علمدار نیامد علمدار نیامد یا حسین
Okay. Thank you, brother, sister. Okay. Brother, sister, when the hand was fallen, and also بند قلب دختر زهرا گسست، بند قلب دختر زهرا گسست، تا کنار علقمه افتاد دست، تا کنار علقمه افتاد دست، با عمودی فرق عباست شکست، خورد و با صورت زمین، خورد و با صورت زمین، اون مه جبین، یا ابوالفضل شهید، یا ابوالفضل شهید، یا ابوالفضل شهید، یا ابوالفضل شهید، تا علم دار حرم، تا علم دار حرم اصحاب رفت، تا علم دار حرم اصحاب رفت، یوسف زهرا سوی گودار رفت، تا علم دار حرم اصحاب رفت، یوسف زهرا سوی گلدان رفت، دست دشمن، دست دشمن جانب خلخال رفت، دست دشمن جانب خلخال رفت، حمله کردند از یسار و از یمین، حمله کردند از یسار و از یمین، یا ابوالفضل شهید، یا ابوالفضل شهید، با ابوالفضل شهید، سینه زن گردید و اونجا گریه کرد، سینه زن گردید و اونجا گریه کرد، شمر تا خندید زینب گریه کرد، شمر تا خندید زینب گریه کرد، نعل می رقصید و مرکب گریه کرد، ذوالجناح آمد به خیمه شرمگین، ذوالجناح آمد به خیمه شرمگین، یا ابوالفضل شهید، یا ابوالفضل شهید، یا ابوالفضل شهید، تا علم دار حرم از حال رفت، یوسف زهرا سوی گودال رفت، دست دشمن جانب خلخال رفت، حمله کردند از یسار و از یمین، یا ابوالفضل شهید، یا ابوالفضل شهید، یا ابوالفضل شهید، يا أبا الفضل الشهيد. صلوات. اللهم صل على Muhammad. Time is short if there is any other reciters. Okay. So, اللهم نسألك وندعوك باسمك العظيم الأعظم الأعز الأجل الأكرم. إلهي يا حميد بحق محمد، يا عالي بحق علي، يا فاتر بحق فاطمة، يا قديم الإحسان بحق الحسين، يا محسن بحق الحسن، يا قديم الإحسان بحق الحسين. For the peace soul of our beloved parents and relatives of all attendees who attended tonight's and the other nights, please recite Fatiha مع الإخلاص والصلوات. الله.
Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. Just an announcement from Brother Mahbub. Tomorrow the program, inshallah, will start at 7:30. 7:30 because the praying time is coming earlier. So 7:30, inshallah, will start tomorrow so that we have more time after the khutbah from Maulana. Thank you, everybody.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما.